Hi there, folks. Welcome to another episode of Michael in the Backyard, brought to you by RMD Creations. Boy, that almost sounded professional. I better knock that crap off. We don't want to be accused of being professional. All right, we've got a 2015 GMC Terrain that has the 2.4 liter four-cylinder that we worked on very recently. We're continuing to do some maintenance on it before I rehome it. Well, because me personally, I don't want to sell something to somebody that I don't know in good faith is going to be in good shape and lasting, because the crazy part is used car prices are nuts. They're absolutely nuts. And people are asking, over $10,000, $12,000 for cars that have 180, 190,000 miles on them. And I get it. It's because the new cars are way up here on price, and that makes the used cars prices creep up too. I get it. It's terrible, but it's happening, and everybody's in the same boat that I'm in, that has seen everything around them literally almost double in price over the past year and a half to 2 years. But this is not an economics video. This is a how to keep your car on the road video and save you money video. So let's dig in. I'm going to show you a few things on the car. And the transmission needs to be good and hot, which this one is now. I just drove it to about 40 miles. And got the transmission good and hot. Then we're going to drain the plug. That's the first thing we're going to do. So let's get underneath this thing and drain the oil and drain the plug. Some days I wonder if English is my first language. Let's pop this hood up. Enjoy the warmth. Yeah, good and warm. Woohoo. Now, you want to keep this thing... Oh, my oil container is slap full. I need to get a little bit of oil out of that. Now, right here is a drain plug. This is right here is what you're seeing is your driver's side tire. I've got it turned all the way to the right, and that's for the next step. And this takes a very small... See, this is 12 millimeter. Oh, it's smaller than 12. It's 11, ain't it? Oh, be darned. Yep, it's 11 millimeter. This is your drain for your transmission fluid. And everything I've seen so far on videos, even after 50,000 miles, the transmission fluid is black. And the other thing I've been noticing is I think it takes about 4 quarts. Yep, it's black as coal. It ain't bad though. Doesn't smell burnt or anything. That's good. As you can see here, it's not bad. It's dark coming out, but it's not bad. It looks, I don't know how often it's been changed or when it was last changed. But when you get a different vehicle, that's the time to do it. That way you definitely know. Unless you've gotten somebody that has taken meticulously good care of their car and have great records, don't trust it, do it yourself. That's going to take a while to drain. Now that we've let this drain for a good long while, and I don't know what the proper amount of time it should drain. I let it sit for an hour because I had other things to do. So I did them. We'll put the plug back in. The good news is, you guys might have noticed this was pretty dry under here until I started doing that, draining it, but we'll wipe it all off so we can keep an eye on it in the future to make sure that, it doesn't start leaking on us. It is just a tapered thread, so be careful not to over tighten it. Now that your plug is installed, it's time to fill it back up. Right down here, there's a black line right there where my fingertip's at. There's a cap. And it just unscrews and comes out of there like that. What you want to do next is get yourself a nice long funnel. And you'll stick that right down in that hole. And make sure your funnel's clean. So the last thing you want to do is pour a bunch of dirt back down in your transmission. Now you want to make sure your transmission, I'm using full synthetics, max life, multi-vehicle automatic transmission fluid. This is proven for Dextron. I've heard people say VI, Dextron 6, that's Roman numerals for 6, and a Mercon, and you know, so, and Dexmerc CVT, so this will be good for this one. So we'll go ahead and pour this in slowly. Okay, now that we've got the 4 quarts in there, I'm going to pull the the funnel back out, put the plug back in for just a little while here while I perform the next step. Now the next step is start the vehicle. Listen to that muffler. That's not that. I'm working on replacing, don't worry. You can hear a little pa-pa, little miss here and there. The spark plugs are old. I've got those coming too. So anyway, put it in reverse. Leave it there for a little bit. Neutral. And give it about 5 seconds in each one. Drive. And then there's a manual mode. And go back to drive. Neutral. This gets all the oil circulating through all the different, whatever the little passages and everything that are in a transmission. Just remember, you don't have to know how to rebuild a transmission to be able to take care of one. So there, we've done that. Now we're going to go to my next step, which is going to be a little bit of a flushing process. I bought 2 gallons of transmission fluid. The other thing I felt when I was shifting it was I could feel it going into gear. Now the next part's not bad, but not great. I'm gonna see if I can get you a shot in here, best I can. Let's see if I can get you guys in here where you can see what I'm doing. There's a plug right there, center shot, just to the right of that drive shaft, input shaft there. There's a plug in there just like we took out the drain to drain the oil. Looks like it's the same size and everything. So whatever you dug out for that, you can use for this. Now what this thing is, it is your transmission level. So this determines how full your transmission is. You fill your transmission up until it runs out of this plugged hole here. Now as you can see, fluid is coming out. And it's still black. Make sure you get your container under there to catch all the fluid. Now what I'm going to do is start it up. Now I've actually taken a fill plug back out and put the funnel back in on top of the transmission. We're going to go ahead and start the car. And as you can see right now, what's coming out is pretty darn dark. And by starting it up and running it, it'll actually circulate some more transmission fluid. I'm going to slowly put some in the top side. A little at a time there until we see it come out. There, you can see it starting to run out. What that's going to do is thin down some more of the transmission fluid that doesn't naturally just drain out by draining the plug. Just do a little bit at a time. And I can see the transmission fluid already getting a little clearer, which is nice. Now I'm going to continue to do this until I've gone through the other 4 quarts. Doesn't look as black now, it's clearing up quite a bit. I'll be honest with you, the transmission fluid that was in there wasn't as bad as I thought it might be. Maybe it has been serviced in the past, but no idea how long. It's definitely looking really good now. Now while it's running, I'm going to go ahead and draining. I'm going to go ahead and run it through the gears again. Reverse. Neutral. Drive. Manual. Back to drive. Back to park. There again, that helps some stuff move through some other valving chambers. Boy, that's coming out really nice and clean looking now. I like that. Now I've put all 4 quarts in there. I've turned the car off now, and I'm gonna watch that drain there. When it slows down to a drip, then I'll put the plug back in. That's coming out just so clean and red now. I like it. Now me personally, as easy as this is to do, I would probably change this out at least every 2 to 3 oil changes versus waiting, 50,000 miles. My normal practice is 50,000 miles. Now that we're back down to a drip, I'll go ahead and reinstall the plug. Snug that right up. Not too tight, not too loose. Now there's a lot of oil all over the frame member there. And the transmission, I'm going to go ahead and take some brake cleaner and flush that off to clean it up. There we go. Let that drip into the drain pan and we're done. Last but not least, pull the funnel out. Funnels out, and put this plug back in. Now I've changed a decent amount of transmission fluids in my day, and this is actually, I would call it one of the easiest. Only downside, got stuff all over me. The only downside to this particular one is you're not changing the filter. My understanding, and you guys leave comments, you guys out there that have done this type of stuff or do this type of work, don't be afraid to leave comments below to help other people out with your information. The filter is inside the transmission, and you can't change the filter, is my understanding, without removing the transmission. Just how it's designed, I guess. But the cool part is that's pretty easy to fill, drain, top off, plug, flush a little bit. I mean, it's actually quite easy. Now, next time I change this oil, if I decide to keep this vehicle instead of selling it, because I'm really not hating on it. I really don't mind this vehicle at all. It's actually a pretty nice riding vehicle, and runs smooth, rides smooth, handles well, and it's got a lot of space in it. Underpowered, maybe a little, but the 6-speed automatic transmission this has in it keeps this car in the right RPM range, and once you get it up in the RPM range, it's pretty peppy. I pulled off a 3-car pass this morning, no problem. I mean, I just nailed it And I was doing 80, just above the speed limit when I went around these slower folks. And yeah, it gets up and goes. Cruise works well, holds the cruise speed up and down hills perfect. So, but yeah. Now, you guys think, I might be thinking, you wasted 4 quarts there by doing that. It's like, I don't feel that I did. Because I don't know when the last time this fluid was changed. I did basically a little bit of a flush, as it were. And now, if I was to keep it, I would change. Honestly, I would probably do this one every 25,000 miles. It's cheap insurance. That 4 quarts costs $27. So that tells me right there, that's pretty cheap insurance compared to, let's call it $2,500 to $4,000 transmission repair or rebuild or replace. That's how I look at things. It's like, think about what the value that you're getting out of what you're doing. And if you could get, call it 60, 70, 80, 90,000 more miles out of a transmission by doing that, seems a little bit worth it now, doesn't it? Because a vehicle that doesn't have a running engine and doesn't have a operating transmission, which is the heart and soul, as it were, it's worth not a lot of money, about scrap weight, unless you got the means and the abilities to do engine swaps and stuff like that, which a vehicle like this, I wouldn't be afraid to do an engine swap with it. The nice thing about the GMC Terrains and let's call it Chevy Traverses is there's hundreds and thousands of these engines out there. These cars are all over the place. So one thing nice about buying a popular vehicle, I wouldn't say popular, I don't want to say a high selling vehicle, they sell a lot of, is that there's parts in junkyards for you. There's parts online that are more reasonable price because they sell a lot of them. And the problems that occur, you can find the answers to on YouTube and Google searches and stuff like that, which really helps you along in maintaining your own vehicle. Now, the other things I'll share with you, and I'm trying to keep this trying to keep this video a little shorter, and you could have tuned out by now because we're done. If you're hanging out now, it's because you just like hearing me talk. But the other thing I heard from a transmission guy, now this is going back to when I had a 1993 Lumina, and it was, let me turn this heater off for a second. There we go. But I had a 1993 Lumina that had a bad transmission in it. I bought it knowing it had a bad transmission. I pulled the dipstick, smelled the transmission fluid, it smelled burnt. This stuff, even though it was dark, did not smell burnt. It smelled like, well, never have smelled the synthetic transmission fluid. Pretty much doesn't have much of a smell. Anyway, it smelled okay to me. There again, I don't know what kind of oil was in it or transmission fluid was in it, whether it was original or not. None of these things I know. But the one thing I do know is what it has in it now. So, what else can I tell you? Oh, when I took my Lumina in to get the transmission rebuilt, because I knew it was bad, because I actually tried to just change the fluid and filter and see if it'd come around, and it did not. It cost me at that time $1,800 to get that one done. But I asked the guy, the technician there, I said, so what about these cars that they say 100,000 miles before you need to change your transmission fluid? He goes, that's fine. He goes, most people don't keep their cars, to 100,000 miles. Most people are getting up there in the 60 to 80, 90,000 mile range, and then they're trading it in because they're getting something newer, different, change, He goes, if you're going to keep a car, he goes, 25 to 50,000 miles, depending on your driving. If you do a lot of highway driving, you can go 50,000 miles. If you do a lot of in-town driving where things run hotter, err on the side of closer to 25,000 miles when you do your transmission fluid change. Most everything else I've got on the property that I've done changes on, and in the cars I've had in the past, you're always dropping that pan. It's kind of messy to do. You drop the pan, change the filter, top it back off again. And when I do that, usually what I'll do is right under the hood somewhere, and I'll do it on this one too, even though I'm selling it, because I'm going to help the next guy. I'll find a place where, under the hood here where I can write trans, 133,000 miles, so that somebody knows the next time. And then I'll also write on there 4 quarts. So somebody like me, when I'm doing different cars, I could go and look in the car and go, okay, needs to be done. And I know how many quarts to buy. So when I drain it and top it off, I really don't have to do a whole lot of checking after that. Now this one here, I put 4 quarts in after I drained it, pulled that side plug out, nothing came out. So it would have taken just a little bit more. I think a lot of it has to do with how long you drain it, because there's passages and everything up in transmissions that'll sit there and drip and drain. And I've seen that happen before where I thought where it was done draining, but left the transmission pan open for a while, or the pan off of it for a while. And you come back and the level and the fluid comes up quite a bit. There's more that just drains out. It's kind of neat. I think neat, maybe that's, it's fascinating how much oil is trapped on the surfaces that will continue to drain and drip in. All right, don't be afraid to leave comments down below. How do you do your transmission change? How often do you do your transmission fluid change? What type of transmission fluid do you use? I've used Dextron 6 in my my Impala. I've had it since 52,000 miles. It's got 184,000 miles on it now. And I use the Lavalier, or the Napa brand. This is just, I was at the store, this was available. I'm gonna get this fluid changed out. And there again, for $27 for 4 quarts. Thought it was pretty reasonably priced. But don't be afraid to leave some comments as to how you guys do it, what your experience is. There's fellers out there that's been around a lot more years than I have, and what's been your practice and how many transmissions have you had fail? Alrighty, we're done. Thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. More videos coming soon. We're going to be doing the spark plugs on this. We're going to be doing the muffler on this. Those will all be separate videos. And I'm doing those as separate videos for the simple fact that I could do everything I've been doing to this car like I did with the VVT valves and the exhaust and the transmission and the air filter and muffler. I could do that all in one video, but a lot of people don't want to sit there and watch an 1.5 hour long video of me working on this car. Some people are looking at it like I did on some things. I'm looking for, how do I do the transmission fluid on a 2015 GMC Terrain? I looked that up, I watched it, I came out here and I made a video for you guys. And yeah, there's a lot of videos out there, but I find that, I try to watch what other people do, and then I try to improve on that video if it would, to make it, let's call it entertaining and very informative. And also just the practical knowledge I try to apply to things that I do for you guys. So thank you for watching. See you on the next video. If I'm lucky, you see me on the next video, and I get to see you guys watch me on the next video. And let's keep marching forward. Let's keep it real. And I'm ready to drive this thing around some more and see what else I can fix on it.